The ruin stands in the heart of Philadelphia, a skeletal silhouette of towering masonry reaching up toward the unforgiving sky. What was once the home of America's most hardened criminals is now an eerie shell of its former self, the crumbling facade and busted battlements of Eastern State Penitentiary. Here, within these cold, imposing walls, the ghosts of men past still linger, trapped in an eternal echo of torment and despair. Are you brave enough to hear their story? Welcome to this house. Today, we are transported back to a time when the sun set early and shadows stretched long in Philadelphia. The year is 1829, and a new prison is being opened, a place where crime would meet its ultimate punishment. It was called Eastern State Penitentiary. This prison was unlike any other in America. As we step through the wrought iron gates and into the cavernous yard, we begin to understand why. Looking up, we see that a high brick wall surrounds us, topped with broken glass and spiked iron, ensuring that escape is impossible. This is not just a prison. It is a fortress of confinement. As we pass through the archway and approach the main cell block, a chill wind sweeps across our skin, raising goosebumps and whispering tales of the tortured souls that once walked these very same stones. The cell block rises before us, a looming presence of gray stone and barred windows. Each window is designed to allow just enough light for a man to read the Bible, a calculated cruelty intended to remind every prisoner of their sin and their supposed path to redemption. As we move further into this maze of misery, we begin to see the cells. They are small, cramped spaces, barely big enough for a man to turn around in. Some are empty, but many still hold the remnants of a prisoner's life. A tattered blanket, a chipped enamel cup, perhaps a drawing on the wall. Each cell is a tomb of solitude, a coffin of stone and iron bars. We can feel the crushing weight of the stone walls pressing down on us, stifling our breath and slowing our steps. It is hard to imagine a human being enduring such confinement day after day, year after year. Yet these men did. The prison was designed to break a man, to force him to confront his inner demons and confess his sins. It was a place of silence and solitude, where sound and human contact were forbidden. Prisoners were forbidden to speak a word, to utter a sound that might carry on the cold stone walls and disturb the oppressive quiet. They were locked in their cells, denied even the solace of human touch, forced to confront their own thoughts and memories in the suffocating darkness. They were forgotten, left to rot in their own filth and despair. But Eastern State Penitentiary was also a place of innovation, of experiments in punishment and reform. It was here that the Auburn system of prison labor was developed, where prisoners were made to work during the day and then returned to their cells at night. It was also here that the Pennsylvania system was born, which emphasized solitary confinement and religious reflection. These systems would go on to shape the American prison system for generations to come. As we stand in the shadow of the prison's crumbling walls, we can't help but wonder about the stories of the men who were imprisoned here. We think of the young man who came in for stealing a loaf of bread, only to be sentenced to years of solitary confinement. We think of the hardened criminal who arrived from the bustling streets of New York, thrown into a world of suffocating silence. We think of the men who lost their minds, driven mad by the unending darkness of their cells. And as we explore further, we start to feel the presence of the prisoners all around us. We hear the echo of their footsteps in the cavernous corridors, their hollow voices seeming to emerge from the very stones themselves. We can almost feel their despair, their anger, their longing for freedom in the air around us. And we begin to understand that this is not just a ruin, it is a tomb, a monument to the countless lives that were broken within these walls. As we walk through the cell blocks, we start to notice strange occurrences, doors that seem to open on their own, whispers that brush against our ears, cold spots that send shivers down our spine. We may even catch a glimpse of movement out of the corner of our eye, a shadow that seems to dart away as we turn to look. And we find ourselves wondering, Are we really alone in this place? We come across a cell, and as we peer inside, we feel a sudden chill. There is something in the cell, or at least something was there before we arrived. We can sense the lingering energy, the feeling of unseen eyes upon us, and we can't shake the feeling that we are being watched. Some have seen a shadow figure in this cell, a dark, distorted shape that seems to writhe and twist in the gloom. It is gone as quickly as it appeared, leaving us to wonder if what we saw was real or just a trick of the light. As we continue our journey through the prison, we come to the dungeon. It is a dank, dark place, smelling of mildew and decay, where the air is thick with the sense of despair. The walls are rough and cold beneath our touch, and we can feel the weight of centuries of misery pressing down on us. Some have reported hearing chains dragging in the dungeon, the sound of shackles dragging metal moans echoing in the darkness. It is enough to make the bravest heart skip a beat. But we are not done yet. We still have one more place to visit, the infamous Cell 4. This cell is different from the others. It is smaller, darker, more confining. It was here that the most dangerous criminals were kept, men who had shown no remorse for their crimes, men who had been deemed incorrigible. As we approach the cell, we can feel the darkness oozing out of it, seeping into our bones and chilling us to the core. Many have reported seeing a shadowy figure lurking in the corner of this cell, a gaunt face with sunken eyes staring out at us from the gloom. Some have even felt a cold hand on their shoulder, a whisper in their ear, and then the scent of decay. As we stand in the shadow of Eastern State Penitentiary, we can't help but feel a sense of unease. The silence of this place is deafening, broken only by the distant cawing of crows and the rustle of leaves in the trees. It is a silence that seems to press in on us, suffocating us, reminding us that we are not alone. For in this place, the spirits of the forgotten still linger, trapped in an eternal cycle of despair and torment. Some say that the voices can still be heard echoing through the crumbling walls, the whispers of men begging for mercy, the moans of those who lost their minds. Those who have visited Eastern State have reported hearing strange sounds, footsteps in the corridor, voices just beyond the range of hearing, chains dragging in the distance. As we leave the prison behind us, we can't help but feel a sense of relief. The weight of the prison seems to lift as we step away, but the memories linger. We look back at the towering walls, the silent sentinels of a bygone era, and we wonder, how many secrets do you hold? How many stories are whispered in your crumbling halls? And we know that as long as these walls stand, the voices will continue to echo, a haunting reminder of a time when men were imprisoned not just for their crimes, but for their very souls. It is believed that the spirits of those who died in Eastern State Penitentiary still linger here, unable to find peace because of the cruel and unusual punishments they endured. Their presence is felt in the cold spots, the sudden chill in the air, the unexplained movement of objects, and the disembodied voices that echo through the empty halls. Visitors and staff have reported hearing whispers, footsteps, and even screams in the middle of the night. If you want to experience the full horror of this haunted prison, you can visit it for yourself. Located in Philadelphia, Eastern State Penitentiary is now a museum, and visitors are welcome to explore its eerie halls and learn about its fascinating history. But be warned, you may not be alone.